Hey kids, this is Ivan. How you doing? This is a video that I've wanted to make for some time now, but I've been a little hesitant to make it because I suspect that no matter how much I explain myself, no matter how much I make my intentions and my premises clear, that there's going to be some people that misunderstand it and are going to get upset. So if you get upset, I didn't mean to. But doing this series on the dark and disturbing themes in role-playing games, this topic kind of suggested itself again. So I thought about it. I figured, what the heck, I'll talk about it. Back in the day when I was a kid, we didn't know what a safe space was. That term really kind of hadn't shown up yet. We kind of understood what it was. But, later on, as time has gone by, this idea of a safe space has, made its way into popular culture and into the culture in general. And I made sure, I understood what it meant. I looked it up. And, it's the idea that you have this area where, you're going to be free from discrimination. You're going to be free from topics which make you uncomfortable. You're going to be free from people making fun of you, et cetera, all that sort of thing. And that's a good thing in culture. And I believe it's a good thing for the hobby. Like, we have definitely grown as a hobby. We are able to discuss these sorts of things. Just as I talked about in I think the video on lines and veils, and how much we're actually going to show, what's going to be the backdrop, what isn't going to be part of the game, where we talk to each other and make sure we're all okay with certain subjects being involved in the game, whether they're part of the backdrop or whether we're actually really they're involved as part of play. And we all have the option as players during this kind of social contract, if you will, to say, no, I'm not comfortable with that. This is a trigger for me. This is unacceptable. And so we create a safe space for ourselves in that manner. And this is good. We've definitely grown as a hobby. However, I want to talk about the other safe space. And this has at least a couple different forms. The first one, I think the best way I could kind of describe it is, if you've ever found yourself watching a show like, let's say, South Park or Family Guy, or some other, substitute some other inappropriate show or movie or book or whatever, where you started to laugh and you were glad that certain people weren't there to see you laugh because you felt a little embarrassed. Maybe there was nobody around, you still felt a little embarrassed that you were laughing because it was kind of inappropriate. And I've certainly had that experience. And sometimes you're glad your boss wasn't there, or your mother, or your children, or whomever, because you wouldn't want them to see you laughing at that. But it was kind of funny. And you've gotten together with certain groups of friends, and you all know you all have the same sense of humor, and you kind of laugh about it a little bit. And you're not picking on anybody. I'm not talking about the times where you're really being deliberately cruel or deliberately racist or whatever it is. You get the idea. It's not really you, but there's something about it that's so inappropriate that's a little bit funny. And for me, I've certainly had the experience. I think a lot of people have had this experience where you get together with a group of gamers. You've played for a long time. You've been friends for a long time. You all have a pretty good beat on each other's sense of humor, on what's on the table, what's off the table. What you all agree is inappropriate, but you all kind of laugh a little bit, and it makes its way into the game, and you chuckle a little bit. And sometimes that's one of the safe spaces I'm talking about. The other safe space, I would say, as another safe space, or the other safe space, is when you're dealing with those difficult themes in role-playing games, something a little bit more dark, more disturbing, things that might be triggers for people. It's cool to have a group of people that are all okay with that. And the closest thing I can think of is, in my own life, in real life, outside of gaming, is there are some subjects, some life experiences I've had that there's only a certain segment of the population that's had them. And, I'm fortunate enough to be able to get together with some people and talk about these things because we have had similar experiences. And this is another safe space for us, because if we were talking in front of the general populace, I guess we would have some kind of stigma attached to us, or people would be a little bit offended or freaked out, or whatever. You get the idea. And I think we've all, in one way or another, have some part of our life that's like that. And so it's neat to have another kind of safe space where you can explore these difficult themes in a role-playing game, where you already know you've kind of gone through that social contract. You've gone through that session zero. It's okay, these subjects are on the table. We can go ahead and explore these things because there isn't going to be any in the room that's going to be triggered or upset or offended by these, because we've already identified what they are. So we've closed the door. It's a closed forum now. This is the other safe space. So whether it's a little bit of inappropriate humor and kind of letting our hair down, not that I know much about that anymore, but you know what I mean, metaphorically, or whether it's the freedom to explore some difficult subjects. I think we all need that other safe space. What's your opinion? Has this been an experience of yours? Do you kind of regret not having that other safe space enough times? Or, enough of the time? Has your group become so diverse that you're kind of afraid to bring up certain subjects or to laugh, guiltily at something? I'd like to hear your experience and your take on this. And if I've upset you, it wasn't my intention. I just thought it was an interesting topic and one that's worthy of discussion. Have a good one.